In today's video, I'm gonna explain exactly how you adjust your treadmill settings when your goal is to go from looking like this to looking like what I look like now, right here. We're starting now. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Rebella from ProPhysique.com, and today's question comes from right here on my Instagram direct message. So go to my Instagram, send me your direct messages. I'd love to answer your questions either in the DM or right here in the video. And today's question is just simply this: how are we using a treadmill and how are we making adjustments when our goal is fat loss? Guys, I've spent the better part of this year. I started in November, and if you haven't watched my video where I walked every day for 1 hour for 30 days, watch that video. It'll explain a lot of the details here, but I want to talk about how we make adjustments and how we make settings based on this question. How often do you recommend increasing the difficulty on the treadmill walking? I'm active at work and use it on my days off once a week. My settings are 8 incline, 3 speed. Is it okay to keep coming back to that setting until I increase my treadmill frequency in the fall to 3 to 4 days a week, and then up the difficulty every 1 to 2 weeks? So guys, walking has kind of been this very trendy topic. I made a video a couple of years ago, and to my surprise, it really took off when I talked about the fact that I changed my entire approach to fat loss. Previously, I was doing short bouts of high intensity interval training. That was very trendy maybe 10 years ago. And a lot of people thought that that was gonna be the magic bullet to get you lean. They said things like, wait, look at the sprinters. Sprinters are so lean because they sprint. Look at people that jog. Joggers don't look as good as sprinters. They don't have as much muscle. Well, guys, I got bad news for you. They both burn body fat. And the reason that sprinters look like sprinters is because they're genetically elite, and that's why they sprint. They don't look like that because they sprint because they are very fast people, right? So it's a little bit of confirmation bias when you look at a sprinter and say, yeah, I wanna look like that. I'm sorry, but you're not gonna look like an Olympic sprinter just because you run sprints. However, there are some benefits to sprinting, but for fat loss, what I have found is that when it's combined with resistance training, high intensity cardio is not the best route, okay? I've been a coach now for more than a decade. I've got people competing at the Olympia, and I am an expert in the area of fat loss and sustaining fat loss and retaining muscle. This is what I do. I am both a competitive bodybuilder, a coach. I'm highly educated and experienced, and my goal has been to figure out the best method. Guys, if I thought the best method was HIIT cardio, I would do it. I've done it both ways. 5 years ago, my bodybuilding show, I decided I was only gonna walk. The reason I'm explaining to these guys, because I want you to get to the conclusion that I got to. I wanted to see if I could just do walking. Now, a lot of us think of walking as one thing. My friend here is asking about how do we adjust walking? So when most people think of walking, what do they think about? They think about, I'm gonna go outside and go for a walk. Walking can have various forms, okay? It's just like running. Running can have various forms. You can go for a slow jog or you can go for a sprint. The same with walking. Walking can get more and more intense. Now, what do I typically suggest people start with? Hey, just start with getting more steps throughout your day. That is walking, okay? However, if you can go for a walk for 30 minutes outside, but you want to burn more calories, this is when we can use an incline treadmill. When you add an incline and when you add a little bit of speed, what happens? You burn more calories, okay? You pick up your metabolism a little bit. Now, I will say this, one of my pet peeves, and I saw it a lot this weekend, I was at a gym, and the people had the incline set to the max, but they were leaning on the treadmill. What a waste of time. Do not touch the treadmill. It should be an uphill walk. It should be a little bit of a struggle. That's how you increase the caloric burn. Now, the calories burned is going to be displayed on your treadmill. Does that mean it's accurate? Not necessarily, but what I like to do is I like to set the target on there. Let's say my last session I burned 250 calories. If I hit a plateau, and this is where the lesson comes in for you, I will simply set the settings so that I'm going to burn 300 calories in that same session. So you've got a couple different variables that you can use. 1, if you're doing 1 session a week, you can bump it up to 2. If you're doing 2, you can go to 3, 4, or 5, okay? You can also simply take that same 1 session that you're doing, increase the intensity, and burn more calories in that 1 session. But one thing to be aware of, guys, it's not just what you do in that 1 session, it's what you do for the entire day. The real problem with HIIT cardio that I found is, while it's wonderful, you burn a lot of calories in a short amount of time, what happens, and research backs this up, is that you actually compensate by burning less calories throughout the rest of the day. Why? Because you're so fatigued. I remember running my sprints and then I would just sit on the couch the rest of the day because I was so fatigued. Or in preparation for having a very tough, high intensity cardio session, I would think I need to conserve my energy. Well, guess what? When you do walking, you don't need to conserve anything. There's no recovery. And even if you do a very intense incline walking session, within a few minutes, you're back to normal. I've also found that incline walking decreases my hunger, which is what? That's actually the equation that we need to create a caloric deficit. Eat a little bit less, move a little bit more, you're moving that needle, so the energy balance is in a negative state for a 24-hour window. Our body is breaking down more fat than it's consuming. And guys, something that you should know, our body is always storing and breaking down body fat. I'm gonna say that again. Your body is always storing and breaking down body fat, okay? It doesn't matter what kind of diet that you take in. What matters is that over a 24-hour window, your body is oxidizing more adipose tissue than it is storing, okay? So that means that our caloric deficit needs to be in place, and walking actually helps that, okay? I find that if I get up and start my day with a fasted walking session, I am less hungry throughout the day. Now, a lot of people will ask me, should you do it fasted? I find that you should do it the best way possible for you. If you look at 2 equal days, the same amount of calories and the same amount of cardio, it doesn't matter if you do the cardio first thing, middle of the day, if you break it up into 2, 3, 4 sessions, you gotta find what fits your schedule the best. I'm currently experimenting with an approach where I do a little bit of cardio and then I work for a little bit of time, and then I do a little bit more cardio, and then I work for a little bit of time. So I'll be discussing that in a video in the future. But what I've found there is that by getting up and moving more throughout the day, I have more energy, and it also helps with abating hunger, okay? A lot of fat loss we associate with the diet and the cardio. If you do a cardio style that creates more hunger, it might negate the benefits that you're doing. And this is where I think a lot of people get lost when they say, well, I'm in a caloric deficit, but I'm not losing weight. Most people overestimate the calories that they're burning through exercise and underestimate the calories that they're getting through tracking. Now, if you're not tracking your diet, this is gonna be a huge thing that you need to start doing. Accountability. You don't realize until you start tracking what's in the food that you eat, the overconsumption of serving sizes, and also snacking throughout the day that we don't hold ourselves accountable for. People tell me all the time, like, yeah, I'm only eating about 1,500 calories, and when they track, they realize they're eating closer to 2,500 to 3,000 calories simply through a couple times a day just grabbing a snack. As soon as you switch that mindset, as soon as you start paying attention to what you're taking in and holding yourself accountable, hey, you might not even need to do cardio based on what your lifestyle is like. So you asked me if it was okay to keep coming back to the same setting to keep moving body fat. The way I do this with my clients and with myself is I track my numbers over a week. I like to wake up every day, track my weight every day, because what I'm looking for is an average. From there, I'll also track my cardio activity. So if I have on my plan that I'm gonna do 3 sessions for 30 minutes for the week, and over the course of the week, I lose a pound or 2, hey, I'm onto something. I will not make an adjustment. Once I hit a plateau, once I realize the physique is not changing, the scale is not moving, I'll say perhaps it's time to add a 4th cardio session. Or maybe I take those 3 sessions and bump them up to say 40 to 45 minutes. Therefore, over the course of the week, I am now digging in, burning more fat than I am storing. So you see what we're doing here. We're looking at the big picture. We're looking at opportunities. Look for ways to make fitness fit into your lifestyle. Okay, guys? You are not busier than me, I promise you. I run a business. I am a coach for many athletes. I have 3 kids. I work all the time, and I make fitness fit my lifestyle, okay? Right behind this camera is my treadmill. So if you can find ways to make fitness fit your lifestyle, if fitness is actually a priority for you, it's not gonna be a problem, guys, okay? It might start with little steps along the way, but I promise you, if you don't rush the process, if you allow your body to adapt, it's gonna want to work for you. Our bodies want to perform, okay? We represent what we do every day. Now, if you change your lifestyle today, you're not gonna look like a fit person tomorrow if you've been treating yourself like crap for the last decade. But I promise you, over the course of weeks, months, and years, you will notice, the people around you will notice, and you just gotta do it a little bit at a time. And I promise you, your body's gonna look the way you want it to look. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for me today. Send me your questions, comment below, and I'm gonna talk to you tomorrow.